Hi everyone, Aiden here with eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the RockyMounts GuideRail on our 2020 Toyota RAV4. The GuideRail is going to be a platform style bike rack. It holds the bike in these trays and by the tires. We've got these dual wheel mounts, one on either side, and that's going to mean it has zero frame contact on the bike. That makes it good for carbon frame and alternative frame bikes. And with a 60-pound weight capacity per bike, it's going to be good for some e-bikes too. Just make sure you have that battery removed when you are driving. It gets a pretty strong hold on the bike too. Not the most stable thing in the world because this front tire doesn't have any extra support on it, but it's going to hold the bike well. A lot of people down in the shop really like the GuideRail, myself included. And it shares a lot of the nice features that you'd find and expect to find in a premium style platform rack, like the ability to tilt away with the bikes loaded. There's a blue handle underneath that you can give a squeeze, lower the rack down, and it has a very aggressive tilt. So it comes down really far and gives us a lot of room to open up the hatch of our vehicle with tons of room to spare. So if you need something out of the back, you can get it. If you just want a place to maybe sit down and change your shoes before or after a ride, you can do that too. And you don't have to worry about unloading your bikes. I will say with how far it comes to the ground, if you do have it fully loaded with a second bike on the outside here, it is going to be kind of an awkward angle to get down under there with the bikes. You can see here, if there were a second bike in my way, it would definitely be more difficult, in addition to being just a little bit on the heavy side, so just be mindful of that too. Getting the bike unloaded here is really straightforward. We've got these levers on the bottom that I can flip up to disengage the ratcheting mechanism, and then all you got to do is just push the arms out of the way. I really like this way of doing it because it's just straightforward and you can get to a point where you've got good leverage on the arms to move them easily, open them up as wide as you need to, and just lift the bike up and away. That's a nice advantage to this dual wheel mount style, is that they're easy to load and unload. There's nothing in the center like a mast to be in your way, and everything's just really clear. You can fold the arms back up and flip that lever to re-engage the ratcheting mechanism. That keeps it from popping back up. You can hear that ratcheting mechanism at work, and it's pretty solid too. And from here, let's get some measurements. The first one being ground clearance. You can see there's a pretty aggressive rise in the shank and in the bike rack itself, giving us at the back end 20.5 inches of ground clearance. It's a lot more than some of the other bike racks we've tested today, and it's partially thanks to that stadium style design, where this back tray is quite a bit higher than their front one. That helps the ground clearance, but also bike to bike contact. If we've got two bikes on here that are very similar sizes, this will help make sure that handlebars don't hit seat posts and there's less conflict. Our overall distance added to the back of the vehicle is going to be coming in right at 27 inches. So overall, it does sit pretty condensed to the vehicle. Folding it up, you can save some space. We use that same handle as we did before. It folds up against the vehicle, locks in right there. So if we want to leave this in the hitch between rides, now it only sticks out 10.5 inches to the outer point here. So that's a lot more condensed, way easier to pull into a parking spot, or maybe even your garage, depending on the room you have. Just be mindful that it's still adding 10 inches to your vehicle. It does come pretty close to the bumper though. You can see at the closest point, down here at the front cradle, we've got about 1.25 inches of space. That probably doesn't sound like a lot, but this is a very solid bike rack. Front to back, there's really no movement in this while it's folded, especially side to side. It's really solid, so I'm not worried about vehicle contact. At the bottom, we can see it's working with our 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube, and it comes with a locking anti-rattle bolt. That's going to keep things solid and secure in the hitch. That lock is key-like to a lock right up top, where we can add our built-in, or not built-in, but included chain lock. It's very heavy duty, not meant to be left on when you're driving down the road, but it's definitely going to keep the bike secure if you need to leave them out. And it's nice that that lock core is key-like to the one at the bottom, so everything's under one system. And overall, I like the GuideRail a lot. It's a personal favorite of mine because of how robust and sturdy it is, very easy to use, but I do think, in addition to that, it's a very strong fit on the RAV4, so if you do end up going with this one, I think it's going to be a nice fit for a long time. Thanks for watching.